Friday, South Africa also laid to rest one of its most loyal sons, Gordon Webster. He was buried in a provincial official funeral held in the Eastern Cape. Paying tribute to his comrade, struggle veteran Robert McBride described Webster as having been a pillar of strength in the ANC. He said his wisdom was needed now more than ever before. Webster was at the center of dramatic episodes back in the 1980s when he commanded an Umkhonto Wesizwe unit that carried out a series of bombings in Durban. Robert McBride joins us now this morning for this conversation. Robert, thank you for your time and good morning to you and condolences to you as well as the loved ones of the late Gordon Webster. Let's reflect on your relationship with him. I mean, from what we have read and heard from you speak about, it's one not only of, camaraderie, but of brotherhood.
Indeed, yes. Often we've been described as David and Jonathan relationship. We grew close to each other at college, and in our shared resentment and detestation of the apartheid system and the lunacy of the system, and our shared goal to actually bring the system down.
And let's take it back, as opposed to back in the 1980s and you being part of a daring rescue operation. I mean, it's widely reported, whereby, of course, Gordon had been shot, rescued him, took him to Botswana. Paint us that picture for some that may not know the events that took place that day, even the young ones that are still listening to this piece of history.
Oh, yeah. So the command in Botswana decided that the two units should work separately from each other. And Gordon was captured during preparations for an operation, and he was shot 5 times. What is not known is that they were unarmed. They didn't have any firearms on them. Both comrades were shot in the back. Comrade Beki Ngubane was shot dead, fatally, and Gordon was seriously injured, not expected to live, and the apartheid government was also crowing about it. It was a major victory for them, the propaganda victory, and in consultation with the commanders based in Botswana, we decided to turn that propaganda victory on its head and mount a rescue mission, which we did, and fortunately successfully, mainly due to the assistance of the general population and a sympathetic hospital staff.
You talk about not only the events that took place, just in terms of that, he was shot at multiple times. Some of the ANC comrades did not survive. He survived. There must have been for a reason, a purpose, particularly for the ANC as well, being that he played quite a significant role. Let's talk about that role that he played, also in terms of the strategies that he tried to teach some of his comrades in building the party.
Firstly, Gordon is responsible for setting up of the networks for the Special Operations Division of the eNCA. Our unit was based in the office of the former president of the ANC, O.R. Tambo. And the purpose why we're based there is so that policy directions or changes in policy are immediately manifested on the ground by the unit and immediately felt. So there's direct link between a policy position and action on the ground. And Gordon established the networks. His key issues were discipline and security consciousness and explaining he was quite thorough in his lectures. Those who know him will know him as a quiet, unassuming, observant, humble man. But he was quite firm in his training and his lectures. So no one was left in doubt as to what the tasks were that were required of them. And on hard technical skills, he would go over matters over and over until it was very clear what had to be done. And because he was establishing not only a unit but a network, he had to train people to be commanders also. So it was a lot of skills transfer, and involved, but also leadership role, how to be a leader of people. And very often we worked with people from different backgrounds, getting them to work together as one solid, united group. So Gordon was for a united approach to how we worked to the resistance to apartheid.
Right. We were showing some of the visuals from his funeral, and you were quoted as saying that his wisdom is needed now more than ever. Why do you believe so? Well,
indeed, and even in discussion with the leadership, I mean, firstly, we must say Gordon's notion of unity, it manifested itself with his funeral also. So it reunited members of his family. It also got two provinces to work together, the governments of two provinces to work together from the KZN and Eastern Cape, and also the two provincial ANC leaderships to work together. And in discussions with the leadership, a message that came across quite clearly is that the issue of factions is no, and Gordon's would have insisted that there should not be factions within the ANC. And we had not known of factions, you know, when we were very active in the 80s. And the leadership agreed with that. And there was even an undertaking in the memorial service that people no longer use divisive terminology, which was quite a unifying issue. So those were the issues which I think Gordon's wisdom would be relevant to and applicable today.
And I appreciate you coming on, Robert, to speak to him, to speak rather about him and keeping his memory alive, his legacy alive through conversations like this. And hopefully, of course, the work that he has done will continue to intercept in that wisdom. Thank you so much, Robert McBride. I appreciate you, of course, joining us right here on the South African Morning. Now, there was struggle veteran Robert McBride. He's the director of the State Security Agency's Foreign Branch.